There are very few weapons in the finals that on release had the potential to dominate the entire meta, and that is exactly what the PIKE-556 did, making it extremely difficult to push against a team holding height, as well as leaving its victims at close range scratching their heads as to why they ended up in a pile of coins soon after engaging. But like all good things, or should I say overpowered things, it must come to an end. Soon after its release, the Pike received the inevitable nerf, leaving it usable, but not as good as it once was when compared to weapons at its effective ranges. However, with this recent mid-season patch, the King of Range has made its triumphant return, with buffs that don't make it as broken, but easily allow it to compete with the meta. In this video, I'm going to show you all the ins and outs of the weapon, how to effectively use it, what specializations and gadgets to pair with it, and the most effective aim training routine to date that will make you more than effective with this weapon. But before we get into that, if this video helps you out in some way, shape, or form, please smash that like button. These videos take me weeks to make, being that I do everything myself, from the research and the recording all the way to the editing. So even though it may be a small button for you, it truly makes all the time I invested into this video worth it. And also, if you're not already, subscribe for all things the finals and the most comprehensive weapon guides for the game. Let's jump into it. The PIKE-556 does 50 damage to the body and can crit for 75 damage, fires at 200 RPM, has a mag size of 12, does 600 damage per mag, reloads on empty at 3.25 seconds, can tactical reload at 2.10 seconds, its damage drop off minimum range is at 50 meters, and maximum range is at 55 meters. It can eliminate a light with 3 body shots in 0.60 seconds, and 0.30 seconds with 2 crits. Eliminate a heavy with 7 body shots in 1.80 seconds and 1.20 seconds with 5 crits. A medium at 1.20 seconds with 5 body shots and 0.90 seconds with 4 crits. You also have the option to attach or remove the scope. I personally prefer the scope on because of how effective the weapon is at range. Don't get me wrong, iron sights is still a fantastic option. However, the player will not be taking advantage of all the benefits this weapon has to offer. Now that we understand the power potential of the Pike, how exactly do we use it? This weapon heavily relies on the player's patience and their ability to keep calm under extremely stressful situations. Because if this gun is shot at maximum RPM, you will absolutely miss the majority of the time. And this weapon will seem like the most inconsistent in the game. The player cannot just simply spam fire their shots and expect them to land. Although it may seem that way in the firing range, I promise you it does not translate very well in live engagements, unless you have an above average ability to reactively track. Now there are other variables which could hurt this weapon's ability to land shots at maximum RPM, such as recoil, hit registration issues, server lag, or simply from the player being inaccurate. However, the one remedy that solves all of these problems is being patient and pacing your shots. This alone will increase your effectiveness with the Pike by 10-fold guaranteed, which I will show you later in the training routine. Pacing shots with this weapon will dramatically increase its consistency. The ability to keep calm under pressure and maintain this strict pace is a skill that separates a great player using the Pike and a mediocre one. Now, maintaining that pace should be applied at all ranges, even when hip firing. On that note, I highly recommend turning off auto sprint if you are using the Pike, because it can be very unforgiving when hip firing, even if you are within 5 meters. But if you insist on using it or need to use it because you are on roller and don't want to keep pressing your thumbstick, always crouch to tighten up that bullet spread while hip firing. Now, when it comes to maps that the Pike is most effective on, obviously the ones that have a lot of open spaces that require teams to traverse through in order to get to their destination. However, like I said before, if the pace and ability to maintain it is mastered, the Pike can be used on any map in any circumstance with incredible effectiveness. Moving on to what specializations pair with this weapon, and just like the AKM, F.O.O.L, and FAMAS, the Pike is equally effective with whichever one you equip, allowing the player to choose a specialization that will benefit your team rather than one that will specifically cater to your weapon. However, when it comes to gadgets, there are a few that stand out. The first two gadgets would be the explosive mine along with the glitch mine to provide the player with an extra layer of protection and awareness against lights that decide to push from behind. This is especially true when the player is positioned on height and engaging the opposing team on an off angle. And the flashbang is amazing in maps with open spaces, being that you can throw them at enemies trying to push from afar and effectively blind them without blinding you or your teammates, giving your entire team an opportunity to squad wipe the opponent. Other than that though, just like the specialization, you can pair just about anything with the pike and make it work, essentially allowing you to again cater to your team's loadout rather than your weapon. Now that we have a better understanding of the pike, we can make our way to the practice range. But before we do, I have a special message for my partners at Apex Gaming PCs. If you're looking to make an upgrade to your gaming experience, frames, graphics, and immersion in 2025, especially in the virtual arena of the finals, gift yourself with the Apex Bronze, giving you the perfect balance of quality and performance at an affordable price, without worrying about the hassle finding the parts and building a PC all on your own. Just let Apex take care of the rest and build a PC that will cater to your needs and improve your overall experience. Please don't forget to use my discount code HAZE for 10% off your Apex Gaming PC, and without further ado, let's jump into this training routine. 3, 2, 1. The first thing we're going to do even before starting this routine is to warm up pacing and ingrain it into our shot rhythm. This warm up is very crucial for this weapon because we want this pace to be an automatic response regardless of the situation. Whether we are posted up on height, engaging a team at 50 meters away, or hip firing at a light within 5 meters. This pace is absolutely mandatory and will dictate whether or not you win the majority of your engagements when using this weapon. We are first going to find a spray that resembles a target just like the one I have here, spray it on the wall, stand about 15 to 20 meters away, utilize centering while in hip fire, and when you transition to aim down sights, use model aiming to maintain the target while moving from left to right. The pace we're going to use is going to be one that lies between 160 to 180 RPM and will look something like this. It will provide you with more than enough time to micro adjust your reticle after each shot and allow the player to easily control the recoil, which pulls up then to the right, which can be maintained by slightly pulling down to the left when you hit half the mag. You can introduce more difficulty and add a layer of evasiveness by crouching while firing for 1 to 2 seconds. Use this pace strictly for the entirety of the routine as well as your warm-up matches, and try your best to not go above it. Do this for 5 minutes straight. Now to start the routine, we're going to hop on the roof and go to our favorite light moving target. Get within 5 meters of the target, maintain centering for 10 seconds, then eliminate the target while hip firing. Just like I said before, if you have auto sprint turned on, I highly recommend you turn it off. And if you do want to still keep it on, please crouch while hip firing to tighten up that bullet spread. Eliminate the target 15 times before moving on. Now we're going to get off the roof and stand on this ledge and utilize counter strafing for the first moving medium target. Firing this way will eliminate almost all the recoil of the weapon because of the recoil smoothing mechanic. And when you eliminate that target, we're going to use static tracking for the back moving target. That is when your reticle remains mostly stationary, only micro adjusting to maintain the target, then using your movement to do the majority of the tracking. This is also known as mirroring. Please be aware, if you are firing this way, you will also have to deal with recoil. But if you are keeping pace, this should not be a problem if you are slightly pulling down to the left. Now, regardless of which target we are shooting at, when aiming down sights within 50 meters, always use model aiming. This will allow you to keep focus on the target and make the experience of shooting with the scope a lot less jarring. I guarantee that if you track your target this way while aiming down sights, you will 2x the amount of shots landed. Do this for 5 minutes. Next, we will remain on this ledge and start our target switching scenario. Now, this scenario has 2 variations, depending on what input you are using. What I want you to do is shoot each target once, from the first moving target to the back medium medium stationary target. If you are using M&K, remain aimed down sights for the entirety of the mag, and if you are using controller, go in and out of ADS for each target. This will allow you to take full advantage of aim assist when acquiring and engaging the target. Always have in mind which target you want to fire at next, and when transferring targets, make a smooth, decisive, efficient line to that target. Continuously shoot each target from the front to the back for 2.5 minutes. Now the next scenario may seem like the target switching scenario we just did, but it is actually meant to simulate tracking a light using dash to try to close the gap within 30 meters. We're going to move up to the yellow barrier, start with the heavy target, and shoot each target once from the back to the front all the way to the medium moving target. Apply the same rules as before depending on which input you are on, transitioning from each target as smoothly as possible. Do this for 3 minutes straight. Now to add a little bit of intensity with one of my staple scenarios, the 360 dynamic and static target tracking, where we'll be standing in between both medium moving targets in the range, eliminating one target using dynamic tracking while moving, aka counter strafing, and eliminating the other using static tracking, aka mirroring. For the entirety of this scenario, we'll be again utilizing rhythm and model aiming when maintaining the target aiming down sights. The goal in this scenario is to eliminate each target with 7 bullets. Do this for 3 minutes straight. So that's about it for the practice range portion of this training routine. Now let's solidify the habits we learned against real opponents in the quick play playlist. More specifically, either bank it or team deathmatch if it remains a permanent mode. The reason why I say this is because you want a high volume of engagements in almost every circumstance, from far to close range. When it comes to modes like power shift or cash out, you will have slightly more downtime and significantly less pressure caused by your opponents, being that the objective is more of a priority than eliminating your opponents. However, in Bank It or Team Deathmatch, the pressure that your opponent applies is almost non-stop, being that in Bank It, your elimination is the currency needed to win the match. While playing in these modes, please focus on maintaining the pace acquired in the practice range, regardless if you are getting demolished or pushed extremely aggressively. Do not stray from that pace. It is going to be difficult at times, even frustrating, but the reward, I promise you, will outweigh all of those feelings. Anyhow guys, that's about all I have for today. If you found this video informative and it helped you in some way, shape, or form, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It truly makes the hours I put into these videos worth it at the end of the day. Also, don't forget to subscribe for all things the finals and the most comprehensive weapon guides in the game. Peace and love guys, and I'll see you in the arena.